Well, hi everybody. I've got some big news. I fired my financial coach and I fired my health coach. What? Yeah, that's right. Now, it's really not quite like that. But I wanted to get your attention because I'm kind of excited about the change that's taking place. But before I get into that, I'd like to welcome you back to the show. This is another episode of the All Around Growth Podcast, episode number 200, if I'm not mistaken, of a show that is intended to provide insight and tools to living the lives and homesteads of our dreams. My name is Rob Kaiser and I am your host. And yes, one could say that I fired my financial coach and my health coach. But really, it's more of a transition. And I will begin with some dialogue about the transition I've made, the decisions I made, and the actions that I took, more specifically with regard to my financial coach first, and then I will segue into some dialogue and an explanation about my health coach. So first of all, some backstory on the financial coach. He is a man that I met in 2018. In 2017, I attended my first Financial Peace University course in person, which is what I recommend if possible. It was in a neighboring town. That was the one that I found, and I got a lot out of it. So I wanted to attend a course the next year, but I wanted to do it a little closer. So I looked around in town and spent some time and found a few that were being offered. And I attended a class at Heartland Community Church, which is, it's a little wet and my brakes are a little sticky. Heartland is one of those larger churches, more like a newer church, kind of a non-denominational church, but it's a large church, and they had a good attendance of people in Financial Peace University. And Jim and Joe, the coordinators, and their wives, had been coordinating the course for many years. And Joe had started a financial coaching business. And what I liked about it was that he wasn't too pushy, but he made it clear that he offered these services. And so 2018 occurs. Was that 2016? I don't know. First year, I took the course. Second year, I went back. I took the course again, and that's when I engaged Joe in his services. The following year, I coordinated my first course, and then this past winter of 2021, so yes, I guess that would have been correct. Second course at Heartland was 2018. I coordinated began working with Joe in 2019, and then I coordinated my first course in 2020, and coordinated my second course in 2021. In 2021 as well, I also began subscribing to and participating in the 48 Days Eagles community, which is something that I'd been interested in, but I didn't want to do until I had completely paid off my debt and since I had done that in June of 2020, I started I canceled everything when I was in baby step 2. No Amazon Prime, no nothing. And once I got out of that, I began subscribing to some services here and there. Eventually, I came around to 48 days, and I'm still in the process of I've accumulated more debt, medical debt, but I've got a good framework. Joe was a good coach. But my coaching, or the coaching that I'm receiving now, the guidance that I'm receiving now through that community, the money, basically the long and short of it is, the money that I've used in the past each month for my financial coach is now effectively being allocated and put towards the 48 Days Eagles community. And because this community is what it is, that is how I met my health coach. And back in March and April, when I was experiencing an increased volume and severity of seizures, I had written a few things and shared them in the 48 Days Eagles community. I got some wonderful feedback, and it was really helpful in trying to navigate through those dark woods. And in the process of getting feedback, someone reached out to me named Yvette at msquill.com, msquill.com, and offered health coaching to me for 6 months at no charge, because she had experience with chronic conditions of her own and helping people deal with them. And for whatever reason, she felt compelled to reach out and offer me her services, which consisted of a phone call, like a Zoom call, every 2 weeks, and some homework and some tips and tricks and links and information shared with me in order to grow and improve my health and wellness. And that was back in April when we first began this dialogue with one another. Since then, a lot's changed. I have, a lot changed with the introduction of more seizures and increased follow-up with my neurologist, and the re-exploration, if you will, or the rediscovery of the idea of functional medicine. So I began making phone calls at that point, and appointments were booked months in advance. But fast forward a few months, and here we are right now. It's September 23rd, if I'm not mistaken, 2021. I had my first appointment with functional medicine, the functional medicine department at the Cleveland Clinic, 2 weeks ago on September 8th. And I've got a plan in place. And part of the plan in working with the functional medicine department is I work with the doctor, the functional medicine doctor, whose name is, well, I won't even get into the names. I just want to explain how things are structured. I work with the doctor, and then there is also a nutritionist and a health coach as part of the package. What's optional is working with a counselor, and I opted to do that. It's something that I've done in the past. It's something I have not done in the past couple of years. About two to 3 years when I last saw my a counselor locally, therapist, whatever you want to call them. But I decided with everything going on that was probably good to take advantage of the services of someone who was a counselor, again, especially with someone associated and affiliated with the functional medicine department, someone who worked in conjunction with that program. So I had my first follow-up appointment with my new health coach yesterday morning, and my last appointment with my previous health coach, Yvette, yesterday evening. And we had a great call and talked about everything that's taken place over the past 5 to 6 months. And quite frankly, it's been a lot. I haven't gotten into all of the details here in this podcast, but if you are an active listener, you know, and we're able to glean from various episodes some of the stressors that were associated with and taking place in my life over the past 6 months or so, from the loss of my partner at the day job to increased severity and frequency of seizures to increased and not effectively or accurately diagnosed issues with my gastrointestinal system, to some family issues and some issues with loved ones and their own health. And it's not all been bad. The stuff with the family especially, there's been new births, most of it's been good, but there's still been a lot. And she was there to get me, not get me through it. I didn't use her as a crutch or anything, but working with her, and this is basically how I phrased it last night, working with her empowered me to continue making effective change in my own life, but it gave me the tools to accelerate the process. And that's what health coaching does, in my humble opinion, or financial coaching. That's what it does. That's what coaching in any way, shape, or form does, provided that you have the right coach, one that's appropriate for your goals, your context, and your life. And that's where the 48 Days group comes into play for me personally. I've talked about that a lot in the past. I'll link to it again in the show notes, but there's a number of people there who are working in all sorts of different areas in life with different experiences in life, but we all have the same common thread, is that we're just not really satisfied with where we are. So we're working to put together tools and a plan to create a life that allows us to do the work that we love. And people who are there that have figured that out, and there's plenty of them that have, they're there to support ones that are just like us, that are trying, because they've been there and done that as well. So if you're struggling, definitely check that community out. Good things will happen. I'm not saying you're gonna connect with some kind of coach there, but in the way that I did, but the likelihood of that happening definitely increases if you position yourself in the way that I did there. So yes, in a sense, it's not wrong or false that I fired my health coach and I fired my financial coach. But it's a little bit of a stretch. Nevertheless, I'm going to title the episode that, because I'm sure it'll get some attention as well, much like I hope it did when we began the episode at the beginning. So guys, no closure today. Just check out the show notes. There will be an abundance of links in there as usual. I'm very grateful for your time, spending it with me here. I'm proud of you for making the change in your life that you're making. And for those of you who are part of the community at t.me/allaroundgrowth, I'm grateful for you being there and supporting the rest of us that participate in that community as well. This is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.